chair is not rolling right. Oh, there we go. Sorry. CarolJo's is an online jewelry and accessory business for women, and I forgot to turn on one of my lights. So poor YouTube is sitting in the dark. So TikTok, YouTube, hold on. I'm turning on the other light. Maybe if I can find the light switch. There we go. Let's see. Ah, there we go. We're not in the dark as bad. All right. Hey, Melissa, how are you doing tonight? All right. Hi, Cactus Rose. Hi, Driana. So we do different things here on social media. We do chat times, which we will have tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Oh, it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday. And we also do sales. My next sale is Friday morning at 11 a.m. We are going to be doing what I call bring back sale on TikTok only. And that is where I bring items that we've previously had up for sale that didn't sell out of. I am doing good. I have been cleaning the bead room. It doesn't look like it though. Oh, that's been my night. But also we will do a regular bead sale of all different types of beads. That will be Saturday at 10 a.m. I am taking this Friday night off for my normal bead sale and moving it to Saturday. We have graduation parties we got to attend, so we will not be able to do it this Friday night. And I'm trying to remember, we have next weekend, we have graduation parties, but I think those are Saturday afternoon, so I think we're okay there. So that is what we have. You guys would love it, wouldn't you? Well, I was going to say, Miss Page was messaging me while I was working on that, and it was kind of funny. She's like, I got these beads, and when she sent me a picture of the beads, it was kind of funny. They were the extra beads that I had laying on my bead table from when I have an extra, and I don't put it away. Somehow or another, they ended up in her box, and she's got some freebie beads. But it was kind of funny because I was like, how did this happen? I even went to Buttercup and asked Buttercup, I'm like, were you putting beads in someone's box when I wasn't looking? And she's like, no. So that was our funny. So it was needed. It still is needed. It still is not kosher yet. We'll get there. But yep, they just wanted to go. They wanted to leave the cold South Dakota, but it's not cold. It's actually really nice out right now. And so then we also do tutorials here, and tonight is a tutorial night. And we have what I'm calling the ColourPop anklet. As you see with this one, it has, I'm going to bring it up close for both of you. We've got some orange, we have a ivory, and we have green, like a lime green here in that. And just the way you put it together, hi Crafty, it's a pop of color. And for this year, for the summer, the bright colors, yes, some of them have a muted tone to them, but colors that stand out is what it is all about. If you look at a lot of things, I mean, who would have thought that red and blue were really going to be popular? But when you put those two together, it just creates the contrast that just pops. And that is what this year's colors are for spring and summer. We're headed towards summer, everybody. We're almost to Memorial Day. And so I thought we're going to do anklets. We talked about it for a while now. I got in some new Heshy beads, and we're going to get those ready and try to bring those on Saturday. They're only going to bring the new ones, the new colors. Hi, is it Kala? Is that how you pronounce it? I'm like drawing a blank if I'm pronouncing that right. So that is why, but some of the colors that I have up there, you know, I have black, I think is one of the colors. I have 4 and 6 millimeter Heshy beads that will be up for sale. So you can do this with any type. And when I say Heshy beads, I mean the polymer clay Heshy beads. Oh, how do you pronounce it? Do you want to put it in the chat so I know? Please? I feel bad that I mispronounced it. But you can use the polymer clay. You can use a glass bead that is in the Heshy shape. You could use the synthetic turquoise. And what I mean by the synthetic turquoise, I'm just grabbing, I got them. It's Kalia. Okay. So like here is an orange. This is an 8x4mm Heshy bead. You can use that. It doesn't say that you have to use small beads. You just need something that's going to pop. And if you had this around your ankle, even in just little bits with something in between it or that type of thing, this is what's going to pop. And that is what this is all about, is finding beads that when you put it together with this style of a bead, it is just, the color is just popping. I don't know how else to explain it. But that is what we're going to be doing tonight, is that we have got, I grabbed some of my polymer clay Heshies, and you're going to see the colors in these. Some of them are very, very bright. You know, this was the orange that I used. This was the green that I used. And this is the off-white ivory color that I used. Or, I'm sorry, this was the green. But this green is bright too. But we could even do something with this orange. Hi, Ashley. And we could have it just be that. Or we could do, you know, this purple here. So it is really truly about whatever you want to put together just to make it go and just stand out. Does that make sense, everybody? So I'm trying to figure out what colors do I want to use tonight. And when I even said you could use like the muted tones, when you look at these two together, this is muted, but I don't know if I like that one together. So we'll play around. We'll get our colors. Hi, Mitra, figured out. I want to talk for, yes, you can ask. What I want to talk about before we begin the project is that an anklet in the average size is going to be between 9 and 10 inches. So, yep, it's right here, Ashley. And so you got to know like how big you're going to make it. This one is 9 inches. And each one of these sections here, I'm going to do it because we got this repeated 3 times, is right at a little bit over 3 inches. And the reason why I say that, I'm 20, I'm 52. I'm not in my 20s. Holy buckets. I was thinking 2 there. Eesh. Decrease my age by 30. Ah. So, and you can have them be any length you want, but you just need to sit down and think about the math before you begin this project. And even if you would take a straight ruler and measure this out, I think we'd all love to be in our 20s again, maybe. You can't just say, okay, 9 to 10, and that's where it's going to be at. Because you got to remember, depending on the size of the bead on the inside from the stretch cord or from the wire, that's going to take out part of the inner diameter. We are going to learn how to make a colorful pop anklet tonight. So that is why you got to make it just a little bit longer. Sometimes they say make it a 1/2 inch longer. Sometimes they say make it 1 inch longer. But it really comes down to, thank you, Dee, for the follow. It really comes down to how large your beads are and how much of that is going to be taken in the inner diameter of it. So if you have a bead that, you know, like this one is 8 millimeters. So that means that 4 of it's going to be in the inside on each side. So once again, an 8. So 8 millimeters is about 1/4 of an inch. So you're going to want to go a little bit bigger than that and go with like a 1/2 inch. This one I did 9 1/4 to get it to be a 9 inch. Hi, Geraldine. So that's the one thing that I wanted to talk about, is that you're going to need to make it bigger, but not a lot bigger. And having the cone helps out. Hey there. How are you, Heidi? So my cone, I'm going to grab my cone here so I can show you guys. We'll teach you how to make it so you could make one for your girlfriend, and then she'd probably really love it. So my cone, if you look at it, has anklet in here. So it does bracelets and anklets. And then like down here would be your men's size bracelets. So they're telling you, anklets start here and work their way down. So I was lucky that I bought the cone that has both. Oh boy, I'm doing good. That is like, holy wow. Oh no, that stinks. When I bought this, I bought it really truly because it was one of the only ones that I could find that went to like 4 inches. And this is like where you're looking at like 2 and 3 year olds bracelet sizes. The 5 to 6 is your like 4 to 6 year old, and then 6 to 7 is the tweeners, and then 7 to 8 or 8.5 is, you know, adult usually, except for if you're me, you're in the tweener section. So I bought it because it went up here, but now for anklets I can use it down here. So that's what I'll say. And if you look at this one, he always wants to roll up a little bit, but he's down in that 9 before he stretches. But every time I let him go, he just naturally starts rolling up for some reason. And it's not even stretching. I cannot figure out this bracelet or anklet, why it wants to go up. So that's the thing that I'm going to tell you to think about when you're picking out your beads, how many colors you're picking out, how many patterns you're going to want on it, you know, and doing the math. I know. Math stinks sometimes and we don't always like it. And it's like an algebra equation that they say you never use it, but you do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point you all down onto my bead mat so you can see what colors I'm picking and what I'm putting together and that type of thing. And then we'll start. I'm going to make the Heshy one. And I keep saying Heshy, the polymer clay Heshy one with stretch cord. And then I'll use the synthetic turquoise with wire. And the reason being is that one's heavier than the other. So I just figure it would work out. Now, YouTube, I will not be able to see your comments while you are pointed down, okay? I am sorry. TikTok, I just got to remember to look at my backup account, and I always sometimes forget to do that. So I need to pick colors. And for some reason, I'm having a hard time tonight. I'm like, I saw this blue, but then I'm like, what do I want with that blue? Unless I would do this really light gray. I don't like that red with it. I'm not in love with that. If you guys see something that the lime green, are you talking this one right here? Cherie? So we could do that one. What other color should we do with it? We could do, because that's a little, I don't want to use that because I used that one already. I want to use something different. Hi, Deborah. How about these two? Nope. I'm looking at them in there and I'm like not liking it. Ooh, what about this? The yellow orange. This one here, I don't know. I don't have a bright pink. This is coral. I'm liking that. And I don't know that I really want another color in there. Maybe the white. Oh yeah, the white. Look at that. How about the white? I'm not seeing all the comments. All right, we'll take those 3. I don't want to do the same pattern that I did before, so we're going to change it up a little bit. So this one is, I will tell you for this pattern, it is 1.5 inches here, 1/4 inch for this one, and then it is 1 inch for this one. And that got us there. This time, I'm going to cut off a piece of And I got to get my scissors here. There we go. I got to turn this around so I see the numbers. We're going to do a 15-inch piece of stretch cord. Hi, Lisa. We're going to make a 10-inch brace or anklet. And I'm going to put my bead stopper on it. And I am thinking, some of these are loose. It's going to fall off. Okay. I wonder if I do 3/4 of an inch of green. I'm thinking this through. 3/4. And then I'm thinking taking the white and the green and then going back and forth between those. And then it'll switch to the white and the purple, and then do 3/4 of an inch of the purple, and then just keep doing something like that. Thinking out this pattern on the fly, and I got to see how long it will work, how long it is. And it is really quiet with no music whatsoever because of copyright rules. Okay. And that is just a little bit more. So we'll do there. There's 3/4 of an inch. Now let me get the white out. I don't want these all falling off of their things. So let's do white, 2 green, 1 white, 1 green, 2 white, okay. Oh, they are easy to work with. These are polymer clay Heshy beads is what they're called. We have a sale, we do it on twice a year with these beads. We just had it in April, I think, or was it March? We just had it not too long ago. And then I'm gonna do 1 purple, 1 white, whoop, dropped it, 2 purple, and then 1 white. Then I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch of the purple. And if you just take it off like this, and then sometimes you can just get it to go, and it doesn't take as long to get them on there. Okay, let's see. We need a couple more. And we'll be at 3/4 of an inch. All right. What do you guys think of that for the pattern? I'm kind of liking it. Yep, I'm using the 0.8 millimeter stretch cord is what I'm using. So now we're going to go, I'm going to grab a few white here. We have 1 white, 2 purple, 2, nope, just 1 white, 1 purple, 2 white, and then we're going to switch to the green. Where is our end of the green? There it is. He's got a little knot on the end of him. There, whoop, now they're going to fly. On green. One white. Well, for the heavens to Betsy's sakes. Go on, there we go. And there we go. Ooh, that looks really cool. All right, now we're gonna do 3/4 of an inch of the green and just put that on. And sometimes this works. Oh, thank you for the gifts, Lisa. Let's see what their length is. Go right here. Oh, I need one more. So I'm just going to put that, see, that color just pops on there. You have that transition back and forth. He is really thin. I don't want him. I'm going to grab some of the white. I'm going to do 1 white, 2 green. And you can make up any pattern. And I forgot to measure what is our pattern length here. It is 2 inches, which is what I need. It's a little bit over 2 inches, so that's perfect. Forgot to do that earlier. Man sakes alive. There's 1 green. There's a 2nd green. 1 white. 1 green. 2 whites. 1 purple. 1 white. 2 purple. Does this have to be perfect every time? Nope. If you mess it up, nobody's gonna notice. There's 2 purple. I just frisbeed that one across my bead mat. There. Go in. There we are. And now we're gonna grab 3/4 of an inch of Heshy beads, the polymer clay Heshy beads, and put them on. Whoop, I dropped a few. There we go. Let's measure this. And we are at 3/4 of an inch. And we are at a little bit over 4.5 inches. So we're doing, see? You know what this kind of reminds me of in a way? When you see it this way, sports socks. But when I see it this way, it doesn't. This way it does. Is that just silliness? Yes. Well, that one's a thin one. I don't want him. Some of the polymer clay, they have a different millimeter thickness, and some of them can be really, really thin. Whoops, I did this one wrong. Should be this way. No, I know, I'm doing it wrong. There, I need 2 here. This is what's messing me up. And then I go back to green. Nope. All right, sorry. It's just driving me nuts because it's like it's not coming all of a sudden. There we go. Then 1. Some more of these over here. Three-fourths of an inch. Now they went every direction on my hand. Hello, Lacey. Hey, Aves. Sorry, I can't see comments as well because of the way I've got it pointed down. I need a lot more green. There we go. Hey, everybody, we got to 10K. We're actually at 6 or at 11K. We're at over 6 inches here. All right. So we're going to do a giveaway here. I'm going to have to point you guys up so I can see comments, okay? We're going back up for a minute, and then we'll finish this up after we do our giveaway. So both of you can guess. So everybody on YouTube and everybody on TikTok can guess. I need to do a color. Colors are not coming to me right this second. Let me think. All right. Go ahead and put colors in the chat, and then we'll see who gets it first. I'm going to watch so that I can see both, and then I'll pick out what the prize is. Oh, we've got winners over here on TikTok. Crafty was first, and Ashley was second. It's lime green was the color. I think I'm going to keep up with what I did all day so far. So congratulations, Crafty. What you're going to win then is $5 off of your next order. So we got it all written down there. There we go. It's all backwards, but I will put that on your account. All right. I'm going to go back down. All right, everybody? Sorry, YouTube. I won't be able to see comments when I go down. There we go. And I am not using any metals on this. The reason being is that when you use the stretch cord and the polymer clay beads, you can actually take this into a swimming pool. If I were to add any metal spacer beads or anything else to it, a different style of bead, that would not work to go into a pool. It will tarnish the spacer beads because they should not be in water. The color about this is because it is a color that is bold, so it pops. Bright and bold, and that's what the ColourPop is about. And then I just showed the different colors, and these are the colors that we picked for tonight's. All right, of all things, I did 3/4 of an inch when I grabbed those. How? I have no idea, but that's what I grabbed. All right, I need to grab some more white. Hi, Candy. How are you doing tonight? And it doesn't have to be. Oh, yeah. Wicked. I never thought about that. Now, we should have used black, but I don't have any black heshies to make that into wicked. Yeah, or give it away. One of the two. I need to make jewelry to sell because I have that event coming up. Awesome. Okay, here we go with the green. 3/4 of an inch of green. If I can get them in that center hole. There. There we go. I love it when they go on that easy. Let's see how big this is. He is over, so I'm going to take some of those off. Where are we at on our size right now? We are at just under 9 inches. Okay. That one's a really thin one. I don't want that one. Okay, now we need a couple purples. White, purple, a white. And then we need to do our 3/4 of an inch of purple. See where we're at on length on this one. Ooh, we're way over. Let's take a few of those off. Let's see where we're at. We are right at 10 inches, and we still have to do our white-green combination in between. So we got to do a white, a purple, a white, a purple, 2 white, a green, a white, need one more white and one more green. Green, white. There we got it. We strung that up. I'm going to show it this way. All right. We are going to take our left hand and put it this end, because I'm going to tell you also, this is about 10.5 inches in length. So left over right on the stretch cord, bring that tail around and through the center and pull it together. You don't have to pull it extremely tight, just tight. Then take the right side over the left in this little hole right here, and then pull it together tight. And I usually say tight, tight, tight in my head. All right. I use hypo cement glue. You do not have to use it if you don't want. I just do it to secure it. And I'm going to put a dab of glue on there. There we go. I will let that sit overnight. Maybe I can see to get this on. That's the hard part about the gluing, is getting the lid back on it. There we go. Got it. All right. I always leave mine overnight. And I got that glue on my hands. And then tomorrow I will cut these strings off as close to the knot without cutting the knot. So that is the bracelet. Now I'm going to show you here how our 10.5 inches in the length is right at 10 inches. So that is where I say you need to, I'm going to just spin it around here so you guys can see the colors too. So that is why you need to make it a little bit longer. I'm doing your inspired anklet, Joya. So I'm not taking credit for this. I will not. I'll just take credit for naming it. Joya gave us the idea to use the polymer clay heshies with the stretch cord so that you could wear it in the pools. So she's the one that came up with it, and that's what she does. But you don't have to just use polymer clays for these. You can do the same style of the ColourPop. It's about, the ColourPop is really truly finding colors that pop. And in this year's or this season's colors. And so what we're going to do next is I'm going to do one on wire with different color or different style of beads. Ooh, I don't want to accidentally get those all off. I almost dumped those off. I leave them on the strand to make it easier to take them off and string. If you noticed, it was easier to string the whole like 3/4 of an inch at a time. So that's what I do with those. So I'm just going to put these away. Put this one away. Now, next, I'm going to use the synthetic turquoise beads in the Heshy shape. And I'm going to use wire. And I am going to use a metal bead. So this is one that you wouldn't wear into the pool or at the lake. It is something that you can just wear around and such. Now these Heshy beads come, I've got them and I'll have them up for sale on Saturday. We've got orange, we have the turquoise blue, we have this deep red, we have the white, and then we have pink, like a hot pink. And I think for tonight, I was having a hard time trying to decide which one of these three I wanted to do. And now that I put them all together, I kind of like them all. What do you think? Should we do all three? When Joya does it, I'll let her answer if it's the chemicals are going to react with that. At some point, it probably would, but it allows you to have something that's not going to damage as fast, is what I'm going to say. But Joya would be able to answer that more than I would be able to. We are making what we're calling the ColourPop anklets. All three. That's what I think too. That means we'll have 3 only of each one of those colors up for sale on Saturday, but that's okay. All right. And then I'm trying to decide what bead I would want. And I'm trying to decide between this one or this one. And I might just put them both on there and see which one looks better. Okay. Shirt is creeping up in the back. We're going to use wire this time. My wire that I normally use, I usually just bring this one out when we're doing our talk about wires. But my wire that I use, I have got to rescue it. So I have my wire on a metal stand. And the last time I used it, it went flying behind the metal stand, and it's underneath my boxes I used for shipping. And so I need to get some of the boxes gone, and then I'll find my normal wire. But I'm using the equivalent, this one's AccuFlex, and it's 21 strand. 21 strand. That's what I use. All right, I'm going to cut about 14 inches. I need my cutters. The tools you'll need are cutters and a crimp plier for sure for this one. Okay. What I was thinking when I saw all three together, we'll see how this looks. Oh, I almost cut my bead mat there. Whoopee. We won't go down this time. So I don't chop a hole in my bead mat. All right. Whoops. There we go. I'm going to go 3 beads. And then a spacer. Woohoo! Just give me a second. I want to figure out this pattern and then we will do the giveaway. Just, and which beads I want to use. I think my mind is made up, but I'm going to let you guys look at it and decide too. Which one do you think we should go with? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? These are anklets. You guys are all going with where I was going with 2. All right. So we'll use 2. All right. Now I'm going to point you guys up. We're back. Whoops. There we go. We're going to pick a color and put it in here. Ooh. It was a color in there. So go ahead and pick a color in the chat. Both of you can do it. And then we will get back to making this one. And we're not very straight over here on YouTube, but that's okay. Oh, somebody's already guessed it here on TikTok. Rosie, you are the winner. You guessed the color gold. And that's what it is. And you will get also $5 off of your order. Woo, woo. So congratulations, Rosie. I am going to point you all down and we are going to put this one together. Now remember, we are doing a bigger size bead. This is an 8x4mm size bead. Because of that, it will take up more room on the inside. And so if you wanted to make it a 10-inch bracelet, you're going to have to make it bigger than 10.5. It'd be closer to 11, I think. So that'll be our pattern. See how bright that is? Oh, I'm loving it. You wouldn't have to do the same pattern type thing. You could change it up and go back and forth and do different ones in each one if you wanted. I'm just going to repeat the same thing because I'm very symmetrical. So if I grab 2 of that one, grab 2 of that one. Holy buckets. If you wanted to make it a 9-inch anklet, then we need to make it like between 9.5 and 10 inches. I was going to say, you guys are just rocking it over here liking on TikTok, because normally on a tutorial night, I don't think we actually get that many likes. So I'm excited about that. And that's what I am showing you guys tonight for, you know, creating a stretchy or creating a wire anklet. This isn't something that's new to any of you how to finish it off. It's really tonight was about, let's stop and think about what colors that you can put together that are going to be very bright, vibrant, bright colors that just pop when you see them. So that's what I wanted to talk more about. And I hope we got that when we were at the beginning. You know, I've always talked about here when we are discussing everything is that everything is about, I've taught you guys like the basics, how to do how to end a wire bracelet, how to end a stretchy, how to do earrings. But you can take those items and do different things with them and just make things that are cool, unique for yourself. And sometimes it is hard to even think of what those are. And so that's why we started doing more of like, okay, how can we change it up? And what is the trend? And what can we do to do the trend? To create the jewelry. Okay, let me see where we're at now. We're only at 8.5. And I got to figure out what we're teaching next week. I have a few ideas, but I got to narrow it down. Well, my Heshy beads are falling out of the bag. There we go. All right, let's see where we're at. We are at 10 inches. So that's going to give us, with the closure, because you got to remember the closure is going to add about 1/4 of an inch. So we're looking at a little bit over a 9-inch bracelet or anklet. Why do I keep saying bracelet? It's so like embedded in my head. But the one thing I want to do here is to make sure that our crimp tubes are not going to go inside our holes. That when I use larger beads like this size or larger hole beads, I will grab a 4mm size bead, which I have buried here underneath my other 2 trays. So let me get it. And I can add one on each end. And all it's going to do is give us a little bit of on the end so that it doesn't go in. There's one end. I'm going to move my bead stopper to the other side. It really doesn't change the aesthetic of it. It's just to allow it so that the crimp tube does not go inside it, okay? Now, I'm going to grab my crimp tubes. Here we have them. These are 2mm crimp tubes that are sterling silver. I always use sterling silver crimp tubes because the sterling silver, when you use the crimp tube crimp pliers on it, hardens the metal and allows you to allows it to adhere and hold that. Yep. See, and you know what? The thing is that I'm gonna say this. If I would have shown you this strand of bead and said, this is the price, this is da 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 da, it wouldn't have turned out, you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard. That's the hard part about creating. Now, because this has been on, I have not used this wire in a long time. And because of it being on the end, he's a little crimpy. I don't want that crimp on mine. So I'm going to cut that off so I don't have to deal with it. And I am just going to use a 6mm split ring for 1/2 of my end of that. And then I'm going to use a 12x6mm lobster clasp with another split ring. Okay, so I want my split ring pliers right here. I'm going to open up this split ring with the split ring pliers. All it does is, you see right here where it opened it up a little bit? Let me see if I can get that to focus. Yep, there we go. And that way then you can put this on without hurting your nails. That's what I love about that. And then I got to find my chain nose and I just wing it around. You can use flat nose or chain nose to do that. You will take your crimp tube, put it on. So you see my crimp tube there. 1/2 of the closure, put that on. Go back over the top of your closure and we're going to go back through the crimp tube. Like so. There we go. You'll see that this is wiggling. It's not tight, but I also do not have a gaping hole to add extra length. You'll use the crimp pliers. There's 2 ovals. The first time we crimp it, we do it in the back one that's towards the handle. And we'll put it in there and we'll do that. And that creates like a U shape or a open hot dog bun on your crimp tube. See how there's that opening there? Now we'll use that and go out and then do the front one and smash the 2 sides together. And that one does not look pretty. That's not the prettiest looking one, sorry. You can use crimp tube covers to cover those up if you like. And we will pull those beads down. Like that. Now we're going to take and make sure all of the extra length is taken out of that anklet. Grab your crimp tube, the 6mm closure, 6mm split ring part of the closure. Go around the split ring and back through the crimp tube and back through a few of the beads. And he is going to come up between right there. He is coming up right there. I'm going to grab my pliers here and help me pull it because I don't have enough length. There we go. I got some extra length in there I want to get rid of. I will use my nail to hold my beads, put it down on my bead mat, and use my pliers to pull sometimes. The one thing that we don't want to do is that we don't want to leave it with a lot of space like that. That's just too much. You'll see that. It's just ugly. So you want to bring that back just a little bit further. And a little bit. But not too tight. Because if you get it too tight like that, this will wear at your wire. So I need to bring it back just a little bit. Because you want them to dangle like this. You see how I don't have a lot of space there? And he can dangle. That's what you want. You also want to make sure that you don't have a lot of extra room. If you look right here, I have a little bit of too much room. So I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to try it again. This just takes some trial and error, everybody. And every bracelet or anklet or necklace that you're doing this with can be just a little bit different in how it just works. There we go. There. That's where I want it at. Now we're going to do the 2. There, this one's better. Do you see how he's just got that center line and he's all together? He's not kind of cockeyed. That's what you want. I'll probably end up restringing this one because that one end is not good. At least it's not good enough for me. And then you just have this. This one is one that you would not wear in the pool. But there is that anklet. Now let's see where this one is at. Oh, he's a gigantic one. I didn't think he was going to be that big, but he is 10.5, almost 10 3/4. So he's a big one. This would probably fit my ankle. I have a gigantic ankle. I have a small wrist and gigantic ankle. My husband calls them cankles some days. Let me see. I just got to see if this will fit me. Heck yeah, it fits me. Ha ha. I might take this one myself then. Oh, that is cool on my leg. Now I just need a tan, and I can't get my leg up there. All right, I'm going to point up here, everybody. I don't know. I always just wear it on my left. That's just what I've always worn mine on. Yeah, if you guys, I can bend over, but I don't know if I can get my leg up. Let's see here. Oh, see? There we go. I'm getting a cramp, so we'll put it down. Oh. So, yes. I don't know why. I just have always worn it on my left. I got what you were seeing, Queen. Yeah, not, I used to be able to, when I first met my husband, which was almost 20 years ago. We've been together 18 years. I was showing my anklet here. Um, and I used to be able to get my like foot up here. I could just, but not anymore. 20 years later or 18 years later, not happening. I got to get this on here. I've even taped it and it still will not stay on. This wire just drives me nuts staying on this roll. Let's see if I put it on here. Where's one end? But that is the ColourPop anklet that I was going to show you guys tonight. Tomorrow at, well, I think 2. Let me double check. Let me go check the time because I don't want to tell you the wrong time. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central. Ooh, I like that. I'll have to go look that up. So 2 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. We will have another tutorial on there. Now, hopefully it won't come unraveled, on another anklet. So last week, let me see where my, there it is. I used to have a leg, like a foot in the part of an ankle so I could show, but I got rid of it. I'll need this maybe. There we go. There. This is what we are calling the Wanderlust anklet. So what it is it's going to be charms and beads. You're upside down there, little dude. There we go. It is going to be the beads and the ink and the charms to make a like summer travel inspired bohemian anklet. You will need a piece of chain of any color that you want. If you wanted to mix your chains, you sure could. They sure are. These are the gray shells that we had last week. We had them in, we have these shells in gray, hot pink, and blue. And tonight I chose the gray to make this anklet. And then I thought, I don't know, this one just totally screamed like summery to me for some reason. These, which of these objects neighs? Okay, I gotta touch the horses here. There we go. And so that's what I paired together tonight. I made this 15 minutes before we went live. I've had this like inspiration in my head for this one, and this was a quick one. I want to try to find some different charms that are like the flat charms that we do on our charm sale days. And that's true, Joya. But I want to find some of the other charms rather than like a 3D charm, just a flat charm, a 2D, and see what we can do with those too. So I'm going to go looking through the anklets tomorrow. So to make this, we needed the chain, we need charms, we need beads, we need head pins, and we needed jump rings. Also, I closed this with the same as what I did tonight in that second one, where we have the 6mm split ring and the lobster clasp. When you are using for an anklet, the jump rings that I'm using are a thicker gauge. These are a 17 gauge stainless steel. And I'll talk about why and all that tomorrow. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow at 2 p.m. So I got to go find some more beads in my bead stash. And hi, Rainbow. And I need to find some more charms in the stash. Like I don't have enough stash to find them. Oh, so we're going to do that tomorrow at 2 p.m. And I will do that both on YouTube and on TikTok. And as always, all of my tutorials and all of my chats are saved on YouTube so that you guys can go and watch it as a replay. And when you go to make it, you'll be like, okay, I can go look at it and do it there. So that is what we have for tomorrow at 2. Tomorrow night at 8, we have chat time. So bring your questions, everybody. And let's have a fun chat time. That's any type of question that you want to ask about making jewelry or about your business. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I'm going to go spend some time with Buttercup and get her ready for bed. So we'll see you tomorrow at 2, everybody. Bye.